My name is Sharon Enemchuku, and joining me live in the studio, I have with me my co-host Ifoma Oji. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, Sharon.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
All right. We also have joining us live in the studio our guest and analyst, Mr. Ugochukwu Afuba. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening. Good evening. I'm fine.
All right. Now we hope we keep that energy as we dive straight into the headlines for this evening. Now, our top story: the latest ambassadorial list submitted to the Senate by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a move that is bound to stir debate from Abuja to Port Harcourt. Among the 65 nominees are the former Rivers State sole administrator, Ibas Ikwe, and ex-Minister of Interior and former Army Chief Abdurrahman Dambazo. And in our second headline, the government of Enugu State has officially relaunched its Forest Guard initiative, a bold attempt to curb illegal logging and boost security in rural and forest areas. Now we're starting first with that nomination, right? It's now 65. Earlier we saw 32 ambassadorial nomination from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and on that list we saw Reno Mercury, and there were a lot of controversies. Only for us to see today, the other part of that list had the former sole administrator in Rivers, Ibas, has also been nominated by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as an administrator. Let's get your take on that story, former.
Okay, I don't know why this present administration is head-bent on disgracing Nigeria the more. And tell me why. I believe the president saw how Nigerians was criticizing the former list and he increased it to this, this new list right now. Please, what is the retired former naval officer doing in that list? I thought he's supposed to be resting. I thought he's supposed to be resting with his family. Now, I remember he was once the sole administrator for Rivers State when, what's it called, his name? Fubara was given suspension, 6 months suspension. And there were a lot of things that went down during that time. We saw people coming out to say, alleged that he siphoned about 27.7 billion naira from the local government, from the purse, as at that time. And we saw a lot of things, a lot of mismanagement of funds here and there. And even before then, when he was still the in the naval what's it called?
When
he was still the naval officer. I think this man, Emmanuel Ekpe, if I'm not mistaken, came out one time to say that this man has been siphoning funds. He has been siphoning funds from office, and that was what forced his early retirement from office with other people. Now, this is somebody that is supposed to be having a case that is supposed to be called in by EFCC for questioning, but I'm yet to see that particular case being tabled to EFCC, or if EFCC call him in for any questioning. Now we are seeing the president now giving him ambassador. For me, it doesn't really make sense. It's as if the president is just head bent on implanting loyalists to go and disgrace Nigeria more in the international body, because I believe he's a mirror of who he is, and he's showing clearly to the world that this is who I am and this is who I'm sending outside the borders to go and represent me, and it is quite a shame.
Mr. Ugochukwu, do you have the same school of thought as well?
Yes, actually, I have something not completely different. I just want to add something other than what you have said, that this affects, apart from the harm it is doing now, let us look at something else that most of us have not really thought about. What is happening in Nigeria currently, the illegality of how Nigeria is being operated. It is just sending a message to the younger generation. They are now getting that, okay, this is the modus operandi, this is how things are done. And so you should not be surprised when in the near future the younger generation begin to imitate these things, because this is that repetition is the key to mastery. When we see these things and observe it, we see it happening time and time again. It becomes a norm. And I think in Nigeria, illegality is becoming the order of the day, where things that's on a normal, in fact, morally, it is condemnable and wrong. We see those things happening. Let me give an instance. I was reading about the Lawsa election that was done, national election, and in it I was seeing that some of the the outcome of the election is that they have two presidents now. One is saying he's the duly elected president, and we have another person saying he's also elected. I mean, if just a student body is like this, you know, how these are the people we are calling the leaders of tomorrow, how then will they govern the people the next time? In fact, let me also explain very well what I'm saying. In this same law organization, I was hearing that some of the students from the Southeast, they want to secede from the national body and now be an independent body on their own. And what does this tell us? It means that truly what is happening in Nigeria, these younger ones are learning from it. That is the simple truth.
Okay, so you're comparing what is going on in the Senate to what is going on in schools. As
exactly, they are learning from what is happening, and they are picking from it. So now to the main matter here, how can the president is showing that competence does not matter. Yes. That's it. He's now rewarding loyalty. People who are
that was my question, whether we think this is a reward for loyalty.
It is a reward of loyalty and not competence. Now I'm pitying students who are studying international relations, because this is their path, diplomacy and relating with ambassador in the global stage. But now the whole most of the list we've seen, the non-career ambassadors, it's full of political actors there. I think it's more of a political patronage rather than, you know, rewarding competence.
Now, if we have a situation like this where we have political patronage and just rewarding loyalty and loyalists going forward, just what are the risks of that, Ifoma?
This is going to further demoralize people that are really ready and willing to work. That is just what it is, because we've seen cases, we've seen allegations, accusations of people siphoning, mismanaging funds and the rest of them. And I was thinking that the president somehow or sort of have informations about this. I remember when what's it called, the case of River State happened and how it was all over the internet. So you can't tell me the president didn't get first-hand information or didn't even hear what was happening then, how money was, you know, mismanaged and the rest of them. And it goes a long way to show you that, just like what Ugochukwu said, we reward Nigerian government, reward incompetency, because you're always answering him yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. If anybody rises up to confront, or rather confront the present government, I don't think we'll be seeing this ambassadorial list, the name of those persons in ambassadorial list.
But what about the fact that
yes to everything he says?
For so long, right, this present administration, when the president came into power, we didn't see any appointment for so long. This is almost 3 years into his administration, and now we are seeing these appointments. Do you think, as a result of what is happening, the image that Nigeria has globally, the image that people have of Nigeria globally, is what has made them rush into just picking anybody that they can lay their hands on? Because we have 65 nominations, meaning that the Senate has to scrutinize those people, but they have such a short period of time to do that. So let's talk a little about that as well. And also, Mr. Ugochukwu, you answer the same question.
First of all, I don't think that it was rushed. This list was rushed because I mean, when did the president come into office? It's 2023.
It took 2.5 years to present.
I need to understand the question. I said, right, it took him this long before he brought out this list. But now it seems as though it's being rushed. Now we have 65 nominations, and it's going to take the Senate time to really scrutinize these people and then approve. So I'm asking, do you think that this urgency, this rush that they have, is because of the image that Nigeria has globally?
Well,
yeah, I think you want to go?
Yes, I want to say, how many times do we see the Senate really screening people that we are nominated by the president? I mean, it is rare. It is on rare occasions. Only if they want to, you know, they want to show us, they want to create content, then we see them screening those, because whoever is nominated for the by the president,
rubber stamp?
It is. It is just in very rare cases where even the party members do not support. Very rare cases. So that's one. And then I think what you are saying is right, because you know the Nigeria is now facing, you know, international disgrace. You know, issues are arising at the global stage, and Nigeria does not have a mouthpiece to, you know, negotiate or even represent us at the global level. And I think that was one of the reasons they are now rushing it this way, in as much as they have had so much time in the past. But I think you are right, because it is as a result of the things that have been happening over time. That's why they are now presenting this rubbish to us. We saw the other time in Brazil when we had an empty booth.
Yes.
I mean, these are things
because of lack of representation.
That is the reason
abroad.
we should have ambassadors. And when I say ambassadors, I mean competent ambassadors who know what they are doing.
All right.
So this government,
and then also the same for Reformer, talking about competency as well.
Yeah, and same thing that I was saying earlier. It is quite sad that I remember when we talked about this, I said it took him this long to come out with people that are full of incompetency to run our affairs outside the borders, and the people that were placed outside, was outside the borders running their affairs. You know that these people are not ambassadors. They are just, you know, charge their affairs. They are just mere staff, which the international body cannot call them for meetings. So these ambassadors were needed, urgently needed, you understand, to represent us diplomatically. But I don't really understand, to be honest, like I keep saying it every single time, why this present government keeps on disgracing its citizens. We have over 230 million Nigerians. Out of that 230 million Nigerians, there are a lot of competent people. There are a lot of people with integrity that he would have selected or handpicked for representation across the borders. And the only people you could come up with are people that have a lot of negativity and ill baggages in their distance. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't really make sense. When are we going to move to the point where we'll stop rewarding incompetency? When are we going to move to the point where the people that are supposed to be in leadership, the people that have repeatable characters that are supposed to be in leadership, should be placed in leadership? To be honest, let's stop this. This is why I'm
talking about international partners, right? Now, how do you think that they're going to view an ambassadorial list that is full of ex-military officers and ex-politicians as well, Mr. Ogo?
Well, I think Trump was right when he was saying now disgraced country. That is what the international community will perceive us as. You know, I don't necessarily have problem with rewarding party members or party loyalists, but let them be competent. Let us look at some of these people that we are in that list, starting from Mahmoud Yakubu, the former INEC chairman.
Yes.
In the international space, okay, let's even say in Africa generally, the 2023 elections, it was highly criticized. The election was nothing close to credible. You understand? You had glitches here and there. So for someone who headed such an election, who flawed the election completely, to now be a representative of the country outside, abroad, it does not make sense. It just shows that he's going there again to be to cause glitches and more. You know, our past experiences define us. What you have done, what do you have?
Exactly.
You see?
I get what you're saying. Now, your past will definitely define exactly how people are going to perceive you. But, you know, talking about competency, we saw the other time now General Christopher was sacked from his position, but now he has now been reinstated as Minister of Defense. Talking about that, and people saying, applauding the president that this is a strategic move and it is the right move in the right direction, saying that General Christopher is best suited for Minister of Defense rather than the former governor of Jigawa State. Let's talk about competency now with this list. We thought that the presidency had a wake-up call when it concerns putting the right people at the right positions, but with this ambassadorial list that we are seeing, do you think that he's still moving in that direction, or has he skewed a little from that?
No, he's still moving in that direction. I think the General Mustafa on was a long time coming. You understand? It was something that he needed to do to at least, maybe to an extent, small little political point. You understand?
Okay, so what about the ambassadorial list?
And then for the ambassadorial list, that's what I'm saying now, is he's still moving in that same round circle. He's still moving in people that are loyal to him, people that will say yes and yes to him every single time, and not no at all. You understand? Which, like I said earlier, is not supposed to be so. Now you saw what happened when the Senate House was screening him. That was when they remembered, oh, we're actually a body that is supposed to scrutinize, you know, the government nomination or the government policies. This is when they remember, oh, that they are supposed to scrutinize. I'm still waiting for their scrutiny for this ambassadorial list, these people that the president brought up. We're still waiting for them to come and scrutinize them the way they scrutinize the Christopher Musa. 5 hours, what's it called, investigation, or what do they call it, questioning. 5 hours. So we need these people to stand on that particular podium and let them question them, and let's see if they are competent enough to run the affairs of the state outside the borders.
You know, Mr. Agochukwu, just the same question. Do you think that with the president coming out now to nominate the Minister of Defense as General Christopher Musa, who he recently sacked before, and making him the Minister of Defense, do you think with that credible appointment, which a lot of Nigerians have come out to applaud him for, and now the list that he's brought out, the 65 ambassadorial list, do you think that he's still moving in the line of appointing credible people for the positions that befit them?
He was never moving in that line of appointing credible. He was never moving in that line. The reason why we had the case of Christopher Musa is because he was out of options. I mean, he didn't have any choice anymore. Nigerians were complaining every day, lives were being lost, and I mean, his house was on fire. That was his only.
So you don't even think it's ever?
It was not as no. He as the head of the house, he is incompetent. So I mean, every other thing there is not good at all. So he has never told the part of rewarding competence, you know. And before I mentioned something about the screening yesterday, and so I'm digressing a little bit, but just permit me, because we talked about it yesterday, how when he came, some of the senators wanted him to just take a bow and go. And I later read that story well. It eventually turned out that it was mostly northern senators who wanted him to just take a bow and go, probably because he's my person, he's from our tribe. But funnily enough, it was the Senate president who objected that motion. In fact, he stood up and said that he will be screened. And that reminds me so much of how Godswill Akpabio, how he has been watching him as a governor. He was doing very, very well. But there is something they say, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think that's the problem with most of our leaders. Because looking at Tinubu now, as a politician, he has been very strategic. But then there is this thing with being in power, you just feel it consumes you, and every other thing you have known before, every other credibility you must have had in the past just vanishes.
So do you think this applies for everybody now?
Well, the Tinubu has shown that it applies for him. Well,
I guess we'll tell in 2027
exactly.
And going forward as well. Now, finally, on this matter, when it concerns security and ambassadorial nominations, really, it seems as though the representation or the image of Nigeria is at stake here. And lots of Nigerians do not feel, even from here in the studio, from what I'm hearing from you both, do not feel that the ambassadors the president has nominated is qualified enough to represent Nigeria on a global scale. Now, just finally on that, Ifoma, let's talk about this international representation. There's a little back and forth that I saw on X with a U.S. senator and a Nigerian politician as well, talking about the Sharia law. And
that was Bashir Ahmed.
Yes. And he was coming out to say that the U.S. has no right to come and dictate how the Nigerian government runs its business and does its governance and all of that. And they just basically called each other out. And one of the things that they mentioned, that senator mentioned, was the fact that the Goodluck Jonathan's administration and the insecurity, there was all a plot from a certain group of people in order to bring him down. Now, this image, it seems that the U.S. and maybe other foreign nations or other international bodies have more data about Nigeria than Nigerians. How troubling is that for you?
It's troubling for Nigerians, to be honest. It's really troubling that the last slide of that particular tweet from Nigerian and one of the US men, it hit me. He called Buhari something Jubril of Sudan. Thank you. It was that last line was, I'm like, oh, these people actually know about us. They have first-hand, even more than us, they have first-hand information, and this is not supposed to be so. And this is the same thing that we're talking about, you know, people that should represent us outside the borders. I mean, there have been a lot of under-reportage about Nigerian. There are still good things that can come out from Nigeria. There are still good things in Nigeria. There are still good and reputable people from Nigeria. It's just that the bad eggs in Nigeria have already corrupted the entire eggs, not even the good eggs. They've corrupted the entire egg. So people outside the borders are no longer seeing Nigerians as credible enough to invest in them or even have, you know, close or communal relationship with them, which is quite sad. And this list now was supposed to rebuild the relationship or tighten the relationship or even, you know, kind of enhance the relationship we have with the Americans and the people across the borders. But with this new list, I'm seeing more chaos. I'm seeing these people going to misrepresent Nigerians the more.
All right, thank you very much, Ifoma. We're going to move to the next story, still talking security, but now we're moving to Enugu State, where the Enugu State governor has come out to restructure its forest guard outfit, and they raised their pay to at least 80,000 naira and started recruitment under a community-driven, transparent system. We'll take a look at a video and then we'll return back to the studio.
Itamba just equip them now with better weapons that will dismantle any kind of kidnapping, any kind of kidnappers in Enugu State. The governor just launched some security drones, and now we're talking about better weapons. Look at machines.
Cease your fire! Cease your fire! Cease your fire! I will tell you one thing today. If you hold this gun, somebody with the GPMG on ambush, you get him down. Once you hold this gun, family, the enemy is in the front or side, left or right. If you hold over, you carry Odechi, that person will go down. This is not, you don't go school. Once we move, we move. Who's coming?
Enugu State Forest Guards, and this is what Governor Pitamba is doing, equipping them. In fact, look at the weapon they have. This weapon will displace any kind of weapon, in the bush. They are here. Look at Anekunke Pitamba Mereme, One Mekwozo. So
guards standing gallantly to protect the forest in Enugu State on the instruction from Governor Pitamba. But let me get your thoughts on that story, Ifoma.
Okay, I think it's quite...
No, it's really I'm
sorry. It's quite commendable, yeah. But I was expecting to see more gallant men. That's not.
No, there are more. They will recruit more. They are in the process of
I just saw right now. Like I was supposed to. I was looking forward to seeing gallant men, and not just that. I couldn't see all these what's it called, the vest, all these bulletproof vest, and then there's no helmet. There's nothing, and you're giving
these are not policemen. They are forest guards.
They're supposed to have helmets now. They're supposed to be
when they have
well protected.
The forest will be scared of them.
Yes.
The forest cannot see them coming.
But let me speak here. I'm looking at their arms and I'm seeing that it's quite, to what I'm looking at right now, even though the comment section says otherwise, it's quite updated, to be honest. These are new arms, you understand? It's not like the old ones that we have. I saw one earlier this week, or rather last week, where a police officer, a military officer was trying to cock his gun and he was finding it very difficult to do that. So this one now needs to be very easier for him to.
Is the latest model?
Yes, exactly. It's the latest. To them, it is the latest model. But at the same time, I think I love the fact that the governor of Enugu State is making visible and reasonable efforts to, tighten security in the southeast in Enugu State. So you guys should stop laughing. I know that video is quite funny, but yeah, I love. I see in Ibone Todi Kenan. So he has been doing a lot of remarkable and commendable works in Enugu State, and this is more of it. And we hope to see more trained personnel, not these ones that I'm seeing. They are yet to feed well. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
I also think it's commendable, right? And I also like the fact that the governor of Enugu State is not waiting until it happens to him before he starts making moves, because we know from the other attacks in the north state as well, it's because these bandits really take possession of their bushes and they move within those bushes. So getting up forest guards to secure the bushes and to protect illegal logging and all of that logging, I think that's a good move. But let's get your thoughts, Mr.
Just like you two, I think that he's taking a bold step into securing his state, Enugu State, and I think that is very good. Like you said, the evidence is clear. Invest in prevention, and that is exactly what he's doing, and that is really good. But where I just want to, what I want to talk about particularly is training of these people, so that they do not engage in activities that are inappropriate.
Like you don't abuse it.
Because one of the problems we usually have with our security forces is that along the line, most of them, they begin to abuse the power they have. You don't argue with the man with the gun. So that is it. And another thing is that this is like a state, not necessarily a state police, but it's something like that, because it is managed by the state government.
Exactly.
So it would go a long way for the Enugu state government if these people are trained very well and they uphold, professional conduct. It would
be really beautiful to see. I don't think so far, with all of this, that especially the southeastern governors have tried to do. I'm also looking at Anambra State as well, with the vigilantes, the agony chamber. I think one of their major disadvantage has been just maintaining that professionalism, that conduct, knowing what to do, that undergoing that training. I think that's where most of these little institutions, security apparatus here and there, are lacking. So for this one as well, let them know their jurisdiction is the forest, so they don't bring that to start intimidating the residents of Enugu State. But I hope that is not what we're going to hear, and going forward, other states as well can learn to really invest in preventive measures rather than just being reactive. But this is where we're going to call it a wrap on the show today. If you want the conversation to continue, the comment section is open to you. First of all, let me thank Mr. Ugochukwu Afuba for joining us today on the show, and my co-host Ifoma Oji for doing this with me every single day. If you're watching for the first time, this is Active Citizens Parliament, and if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, this is the best time to do so. Follow us across all social media at Active Citizens, and you can find me across all media as well at Sharon Enemchukwu. And you can
find me on Facebook at Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Misolex.
Mr. Ugochukwu.
I'm in the studio.
You're in the studio today, no problem. Till we see you tomorrow. Do have a good evening.